right, we are looking at number 2, and it says Miss Trainer's class is taking a field trip to the zoo. This trip will cost $26 for each student, and there are 22 students in her class. We are going to round each factor to estimate the total cost of the student's field trip. So, the key words here are rounding to estimate the total cost on part A. So we have to round to estimate the total cost. So if we look at our information, we know it's going to cost $26 per student, and we have 22 students to pay for. So normally we would do $26 per kid times the number of kids, which is 22, but it doesn't ask for exact. It asks for you to round each factor, that means each of these, to estimate your total cost. So if we were going to round the 26, we would round based off of looking at the 6 to the right. We would determine if this 2 stays or goes up. Since the 6 is a 5 or bigger, the 2 goes up to a 3. So this is really, it rounds up to $30 per child. And then we have 22 children. So we look at the neighbor to the right to determine if the 2 stays or goes up to a 3. Since this is below a 5, we stay with the 2. So this becomes 20. And now that we have rounded both of those numbers, we have 30 times 20. We use our basic fact of 3 times 2, and we get 6. And then we have, that is in the tens place, so we're multiplying by tens. So we have a 10 here and a 10 here that we're multiplying, and that means we have 2 zeros in our answer. And so that ends up being $600. The next problem I want to look at is number 3 and part D. We have 70 times 100 equals 7,000. Is that true or not? So is it yes or is it a no? Well, I see that I have a basic fact, 7 times 1, and I see a 7. And then I look and I'm multiplying tens with 1 0 and times 100 with 2 zeros. And I end up with a total of 3 zeros over here, which would be yes, it is correct. So we would mark yes on that answer. And going down, it says we have 23 boxes of pencils in Mr. Shaw's supply cabinet. Each box contains 100 pencils. So how many pencils does he have in his supply cabinet? So we have 23 boxes of 100. So that means 23 boxes, and we have 100 pencils in each box. So that would be 23 times 100 to figure out how many pencils we have in that cabinet. So we can use our basic facts again, and we would have 23 times 1, and that would be a 23. And we're multiplying by hundreds, so we have 2 zeros. So we're going to put our 2 zeros on our answer. And we would get 2,300, otherwise known as 2,300 as our answer. Our next problem that we want to review is figuring out an estimate for these numbers. So remember, when you estimate the numbers, you are rounding them to the closest number to make it easier to multiply. So if we look at what these numbers are close to, we have a 23 and a 38. Well, if I round those, I look at the 23, the 3 would not round the 2 up, it would actually round down to a 20. And the 38, the 8 would make the 3 go up to a 4. So we have a 20 times 40 there. Now, if we look at the choices, we don't have a 20 times 40, but look at which one is pretty close. There's a 25 times 40, And over here, we could have rounded the 23 up to a 25 and thought of it like a quarter. And that sometimes makes math easier also. That is called the compatible numbers we talked about in one of the lessons. So we would call this one, we would say it's 25 times 40 would be a good estimate because that's the closest we can get to both of our factors. This one, we would round 31. The 1 makes the 3 stay. So we would have a 30. And then if we look at 32, the 2 makes the 3 also stay. So then we have 30 by 30 and our 30 times 30. We do have that as an answer choice. So we could call that one 30 times 30. This one, if we were going to round, we have a 6. So a 6 makes the 4 go up to a 5. That would be a 50. And the 8 would make the 1 go up to a 2, which would make that a 20. And we have 50 times 20. Yep, that is a choice up at the top, 50 times 20. And then if we rounded this one, 39, the 9 makes the 3 go to a 4. And 21, the 1 makes the 2 stay where it is. So we would have a 20. And since we don't have 40 by 20, but we do have a 40 by 25, we could make that 21 a 25. Remember, it's that compatible number, and it's really close to a quarter, and a quarter is worth 25. So sometimes we use that. So it would really be the 25 times 40 as the choice. All right. We're going to move on to the bottom, and that is number 7, using partial products. So this problem shows a box using partial products. It's up to you if you want to use the box to help you answer the question, or if you want to use the regrouping, or what I call the old-fashioned way to find the answer. That would be fine too. So it's up to you, whatever makes you happy. If I work this problem out, I could work it out one of two ways. I could do it with the box, or I could do it old-fashioned. So we're going to do the box first. First of all, to do a box, we have to break apart these numbers. We have 48, so we're going to write 40 and 8. And we have 37, so we're going to write 30 and 7. And then we're going to multiply it a step at a time. So we're going to ignore the bottom part first. And we are going to do 30 times 40. We use our basic fact, 3 times 4. And we know that is 12. And we have a 0 and a 0. So we have 1,200 for that box. Then we're going to take 30 times 8, which is basic fact of 3 times 8, which we know is 24. And we have 1 0, multiplying it by a 10. So we have 240. Now we've multiplied everything by 30. So we're done with that. And we're going to move to the bottom row. And we have a 7, which we're going to multiply by the 40. And a 7, which we're going to multiply by the 8. Now we're going to use our basic fact again. We have the 7 times the 4 at the top. 7 times 4 I know is 28. Basic fact. And then I have 1 0. So we're multiplying that by a 10, right? So we have 1 0 on our answer. And then we have the basic fact, 7 times 8, which you should have memorized as 56. And now that we have all 4 boxes, we can add those up to get our final answer. Before I do that, I'm going to do the old-fashioned way over here. And we have 48 times 37. We're going to get the answer the old-fashioned way. We're going to start with 7 times 8, 56, carry the 5. Then 7 times 4 is 28, plus 5, 33. Then we're done with the 7, so we got to multiply everything times the 3. So I'm going to get rid of that 5 at the top that I carried. Don't want to get confused by it. So I have to scoot to the tens, so I'm going to put a 0 in. When I scoot over to the tens, I do 3 times 8, that's 24. 4 down, carry the 2. And 3 times 4 is 12, plus the 2 is 14. And if I add those up, I get 6, 7, 7, 1. 1,776. And guess what? If I add all of these numbers over here, I'm going to get the same answer, 1,776. Now, for the next problem that we're going to cover on the review, we have a child that did a partial product problem, and it says that there's something wrong with the problem because on part A, it says, what did this person do wrong? So we're going to look at it a piece at a time and try to figure out what they did wrong. I'm going to start by looking at the problem. I see 32 times 17. Over here, I see 32 and 10 and 7 makes 17. So they wrote the problem down correctly. Did they do their boxes correctly? In the first box, I see what they do here. They're supposed to multiply. So we're going to ignore the bottom like we did the last time. And if they're doing 30 times 10, do you get 40? Let's think about that. 30 times 10. Do we get 40 there? I see 3 times 1 is 3. I see zeros at the back, so that's like 10 times 10. That would be 2 zeros in my answer. Ooh, I don't see 40 as the answer, do you? So that might be what they did wrong. Let's go ahead and check the rest. So I see 30 times 10 as being 300, not a 40. Then I look at the next square, or rectangle if you want to call it that. We have 30 times 7. Let's see if they got that right. 30 times 7. I see basic fact, 3 times 7, 21 with 1 0. Ooh, 210. We didn't get the same answer. Now we're going to do the bottom row. What is 2 times 10? 12? I don't know. 2 times 10. Let's do the basic fact. 2 times 1, 2. 2 times 0, 0. I got a 20. And then the last box, 2 times 7 is 9 is what they have. And I know 2 times 7 is 14. So what did they do wrong here? They had a 40 instead of a 300. They had a 37 instead of a 210, a 12 instead of a 20, and a 9 instead of 14. I don't think they multiplied. They added their boxes. So they added 30 plus 10, 30 plus 7, 2 plus 10, and 2 plus 7 instead of multiplying. So they added instead of multiplying. They added instead of multiplying. That was the major problem there. Now, going on, I want to flip pages. I want to look at number 10. And what we're trying to find here is we're matching the problem to the correct breakdown of the problem. So when we have A, 17 times 36, which one of these shows 17 times 36? We also have a 24 times 14, and we also have a 13 times 13. And we got to find out which problem matches up with which box. So if I look at this box, I see a 10 and a 3, which would be what? At the top, that would be a 13 total. And then I see a 10 and a 3 on the side, which would be a 13 total. Which problem has 2 13s in it? C. So this goes with letter C. Now, this box is breaking down the numbers 30 and 6, which is 36, and it's breaking this number apart into a 10 and a 7, which would make a 17. So where do we see 36 and 17? A. And then the last problem, I see the number is broken down. I have a 10 and a 4, which makes 14. And I have a 20 and a 4, which makes 24. So if I have 24 and 14, that goes back with B. So that would be problem B. All right. Now, moving on, we have number 14, which is a basic problem that you can do either way you want. 36 times 28, you can do the box or you can do the old-fashioned way, your choice. So I really like the box because it makes math pretty easy. Okay, so we have 36, which I'm going to break down as a 30 and a 6. And I have a 28, which I'm going to break down as a 20 and an 8. And then I'm going to do my basic multiplication. I'm going to do the top row first. What is 20 times 30? Well, it's 2 times 3, basic fact, which is a 6, and 2 zeros that we're multiplying. So a 10 times a 10 is 100. So there's 2 zeros in our final answer. And then we multiply 20 times 6. Basic fact is 2 times 6. That is 12. And we have 1 0 on the 20, so we bring that over. 120, and the top row is done. We're done with the 20, so now we're going to do the bottom. 8 times 30 and 8 times 6. What is 8 times 3, basic fact? Well, that's 24. And remember, we have a 0, so we're going to bring that down in our answer, multiplying by 10. And then we have 8 times 6, basic fact, 48. So if those are our 4 numbers, we're going to add those up to get our final answer. We have 600, then we're going to have 120. Whoops, that 2 is a little sloppy. And then I have 240, and then I have 48. I'm going to stack all those numbers, and I'm going to add. I get an 8, and then I get 4, and 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Put my 0 down, carry my 1. And I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 again. So my answer is 1008. Final answer. Now, another problem, just like that. And remember, you can do these the old-fashioned way, or you can do it with the box. It's up to you, as long as you get the correct answer. Okay, number 15 is another one that you can do with the box or the old-fashioned way. Completely up to you and what you're comfortable with. But the problem says 42 rows of tomatoes with 13 plants in each row. How many tomato plants did the farmer grow? Well, it shows us here that we're going to multiply 42 times 13. So we're going to go over here. 42 times 13. This time I'm going to do regrouping just to keep things a little exciting here. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. I'm done multiplying by the 3, so I scoot over with a 0. I'm going to the tens. I'm going to start multiplying here. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 4 is 4. And then we're going to add the 2 levels together. We have 6, 4, then 5. And 546 would be my total number of tomato plants. Whoopsie. 546. I'm sorry. Sorry you couldn't see that. All right, let's go on. We have some tougher problems down here. These are multi-step. When you see 3 numbers in a problem, you know you're not just going to probably have one step. So let's plus this right here. It says think smarter. It's going to be more than one step. So let's look and see what they want us to do. It says there are 3 new seats in each row in a school auditorium. There are 15 rows in the auditorium. Each seat costs $74. So what is the cost for the new seats? Explain how you found your answer. So let's go back and reread. That's a reading skill that we use all the time. 3 new seats per row in 15 rows, and they cost $74 each. So first of all, I need to know how many seats I'm buying. And I know I need 3 new ones in each of the 15 rows. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out how many total seats that is. 3 seats new in 15 rows. So I'm going to take 15 times 3 because I have 15 rows of 3 seats that I'm replacing. So I can do my basic multiplication from chapter 2. 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus the 1 I carried, 4. So I know I have 45 seats that I need to go buy. So we're not done. We only found how many seats. That was right here in this information. So we multiplied that. And now we know that the cost for each seat is $74. If I have to buy 45 seats and they each cost $74, how am I going to find out how much total cost that is? Well, I am going to have to multiply the number of seats times what the cost was for each seat. So now I'm going to have to do $74 per seat times 45, because I'm buying 45 of those seats. So now I can do the regular old-fashioned way, or I can do the box method to do this multiplication for part 2. So I'm going to do the old-fashioned way just to keep things mixed up here. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 2 is 37. I'm done with the 5 now. And so I'm going to scoot over to the 10s. So I'm going to scoot over on row 2 so I can multiply 10s. 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1. 4 times 7 is 28 plus the 1, 29. I have my 2 levels to add. And so now I do 0 plus 0 is 0. 7 plus 6 is 13. Carry the 1. 9 plus 3 is 12. Plus 1 is 13 again. Carry the 1. And 2 plus 1 is 3. And I put my dollar sign on it. And it looks like I'm going to spend $3,330 on new seats for that auditorium. And the last thing that we're going to talk about is number 9. We can circle that final answer, by the way. Number 9, and it says Ray and Ella helped move their school library to a new building. Ray packed 27 boxes with 25 books in each box. Ella packed 23 boxes with 30 books in each box. How many more books did Ella pack than Ray? And you have to show your work. Well, boys and girls, this is quite a lot of work in this problem. First of all, I know Ray packed 27 boxes with 25 books in each box. And then I know Ella packed 23 boxes with 30 books in each box. So I need to really know how many total books did Ray pack and how many total books did Ella pack before I can see how many more Ella did than Ray. So I've got to figure out Ray's total, then I've got to figure out Ella's total, and then I'm going to figure out how many more Ella did than he did. So first of all, let's do Ray. 27 times 25. Because he had 27 boxes of 25. So to do this, I'm going to do a box because I just really like those boxes. It makes it easy for me. So I'm going to break it down 27 and 25. And then I'm going to multiply the top row. 20 times 20 is 2 times 2, 4 with 2 zeros. And 20 times 7 is 2 times 7, 14 with 1 0. And then for the bottom row across, I do 5 times 20. So it's like 5 times 2 is 10 with 1 more 0. And then 5 times 7, 35. So I can add all this up for Ray. I'm going to put Ray's name right here. And Ray had 400 plus 100 plus 140 plus 35. And he added all this up and we had 675 books Ray had. Now that we found Ray, let's reread and let's look at Ella to find out how many total books she had. It said Ella packed 23 boxes with 30 books in each box. So now 23 boxes times 30 books in each of those boxes. I'm going to do the box method. I'm going to break this apart. 23 is 20 and 3. 30, ooh, I don't even have to break that apart because it's not 30 anything. It's just 30. So I don't even have to use that bottom row across. Can mark that out. What is 30 times 20? I use a basic fact. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 zeros is 600. Then I do 30 times 3 would be 3 times 3. 9 with a 0 is 90. And I can even add that in my head. 600 plus 90 is 690. So this is Ella. So Ella had 690 books. Now, if Ray has 675 and Ella has 690, the question says, how many more books did Ella pack? So we have to figure out how much more is this than this. It didn't say how much total. It said how many more does Ella have than Ray. So in that case, it's a comparison. So to compare how many more she has than someone else, you have to subtract. So I'm going to take this 690 minus 675, or it looks like we're going to borrow. Make that an 8. And 10 take away 5 is 5. 8 take away 7 is 1. So it looks like she has 15 more books than what Ray has. And that is our final answer for that problem. And that looks like all of our review. And that is the end, boys and girls.